I'm not for sure if I labeled that correctly. Let's see here. No, I can't do that. I do like this one little thing.
Well, I think my dog's a Democrat, and it breaks my heart to have to say an ugly thing like that.
It's not ugly.
There's a big old pile of...
Well, anyway, that's a song called My Dog's a Democrat. It's not meant to be a good thing, but it is kind of funny. That's my alarm for waking up. I have the cutest little dog. Maybe you have a cute dog. Mine's called Lucy, and she's a Pomchi. She's about 6 pounds. She's so cute and little. Oh, she's so little. So, anyway. So, today's topic. Government hacks and heroes. Now, quite a few people watched the stream of the Honorable Elijah Cummings from the great state of Maryland. You know, he spent, I think, his entire life in Baltimore, loving it, building it up, fixing it. And there's some negative stories about him. And he had a temper. Well, I'll remember one time I was watching C-SPAN. And I forget what the argument was about. But the chair at the time was Darrell Issa from California, Republican. He was the ranking Republican member. And then Elijah Cummings was the ranking Democrat member. And Elijah was having such a difficult time with something that was going on in the proceedings. Like, he was so mad he was spitting. You ever been that mad where, you know, all this venom is coming out, this passion, you know, you've shown up, you know, to do your job, and by God, you're not going to stop me type of feeling. And Darrell Issa tells them to cut off his mic. Then he really gets mad, like he stands up mad. He had a temper. But a lot of his temper stemmed from he had a lot of passion to help people. And I only know of good things about him, truly, other than he had a temper. Let's see here, make over here. I don't know if he's there yet. Anyway, Scott was at the last show where I was fishing. And this is probably going to be a short podcast because I'm really tired and I didn't mean to yawn in your ear. But there was a oversight committee hearing. It was on the federal reaction to the rise in autism. I believe that was November of 2012, if you want to go look at it. And not at that time did they know the CDC whistleblower. But he found out about the multiple vaccines containing thimerosal. Thimerosal is 49.7% ethyl mercury. Not to be confused with methyl mercury. They're two different things. But anyway, he was really upset. You know, I don't know what he truly thought of the CDC whistleblower, which I had talked to him about. But matter of fact, the first time I spoke to him, believe it or not, was on a Blog Talk radio show. And I spoke out of turn, and I was so embarrassed. And he was kind, forgiving, asked a leading question to help me out. You know, he was kind. And I talked with his office, I don't know how many different times afterwards. And they responded well. They responded well. So those are my experiences with Elijah Cummings. And we got the hearing. We got the hearing. We didn't get the hearing with the CDC whistleblower. And I wish we had. And now we probably never will. You know, he works at the CDC. He's an epidemiologist. And I don't know if you ever saw, what was that, Insider? Dr. Wygam was the tobacco whistleblower. It's a story about that. And getting someone to testify when you're on that level, yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult. But Elijah Cummings, he listened. Just wow. And that was, if you want to watch a service, that's a good service. Mitch McConnell does get spurred away. Like the pallbearers would not shake his hand. He had the nerve to show up. Wow. Just wow. But his wife gave such a wonderful message about showing up. Now, when I've worked in politics, I would say you have to show up. Most of the job is showing up. Maybe I got that from Elijah Cummings. I don't know. I think it was just growing up. You have to show up. If you're passionate about something, so passionate that you just have to stand up. You can't sit down and do nothing. You have to do something. You got to show up. You got to get away from your Facebook, your social media, and actually go do something. Organize. But I'm going on and on. So, I don't know where Scott is, but I think I'll prepare a message on the impeachment proceedings. I'm so sorry for yawning. And do that tomorrow, because obviously I'm just too tired tonight. And for those toxic people in your life, just do not engage with them. It is the best medicine. It really is. So, it is what it is. Life is good. I hope you go enjoy it. But we'll talk about the formal procedures for impeachment, because obviously a lot of people don't know how it works. It's not simple. And the rules can be turned around and changed, and and then there's the Senate. He can just dismiss everything. It'll all be for nothing. But truly, I hope those hearings are made public, because I think a lot of Republicans and maybe some Democrats are going to be persuaded to leave office. Hopefully, they'll join the prison population. By the way, I think it is coming up the day that they are commuting 900 sentences in Oklahoma. It'll be the largest, I guess, communication. I don't know what they would call this, but it's the largest in U.S. history where the number of cases that they commute will be done. I mean, 900. But then again, they can get retried for everything because it's a big mess. It sounds good, but it's not really completely good. But, no, hold on. Yes, I believe in closing the prisons. Oklahoma has the distinction of being number one, not just in the nation, but the world, for female incarceration. And I think they're second or third for male incarceration for the country. Louisiana, I think, if you look at both genders combined, is number one in the nation for incarceration. But we're number one for female incarceration. And a lot of this is sometimes just being with the wrong company. Someone gets caught, you're with them. Or we can talk about Valerie. I'll call her Valerie, because honestly, I don't remember her first name. She's with Poetic Justice. She's one of the writers. Poetic Justice is an organization that goes within the prisons and helps the ladies, in particular the ladies, have therapy through writing or get their message out when they're incarcerated wrongly. For instance, let's say Valerie. Her husband was a violent man, and he killed this man at their place. Now, she tried to stop her husband, who was quite much larger than her. She calls the police to get them there, but they don't get there in time. Now, he's up for murder 1, And she's up for accessory because she was there, because she didn't stop the murder. I mean, hold up. Why are the judges so much harder on the women than the men? And she didn't kill him. So he gets a light sentence. I think it's 7 years, something like that. She's in there, I think, between 20 and 30 years. I mean, excuse me. I mean, she doesn't have blood on her hands. So there's a lot of harsh sentences for women in the state of Oklahoma. I'm not in Oklahoma right now. And I'm kind of glad I'm not. We could talk about The Watchmen. HBO has The Watchmen. And their first episodes, I highly recommend that you watch it. It's about the Tulsa Massacre. They used to call it a riot. But no, this really truly was a massacre. And I have not yet watched it. I want to watch it. But I will tell you about the Tulsa Massacre that I know of. They had planes that went overhead and they dropped kerosene bombs. This is 1921. And those planes were from Phillips Petroleum. This is from eyewitness testimony from someone that was there. She died in 91, I think it was. No? Maybe it was 90. I don't know. It was in the early 90s. She was an artist, and she was incredible. But to really fully realize that episode, which I don't think they have these factoids in there, but that Tulsa, Oklahoma was the richest city in the world at that point. At that point. They had supplied 2/3 of the Allies' oil in World War I. I mean, Tulsa was like more money than Dubai. I'm just picking. It had more money than Paris, Berlin, all those big cities, London. It was Tulsa, little Tulsa with all the money. And the African American population was forced to live within Garrison, Archer, and Pine Gap, like the Gap Band. If you ever listen to some of the Gap Band, that's where they got their name. And it was boiling time, I would say. But I'm going to go home. I'll finish that story tomorrow on a different podcast, and I'll have a separate podcast on the impeachment fiasco that's going on. Now, I do know that a person commented on my last podcast that he believes that Trump will be elected again. And honestly, there's a big possibility of that, especially with there's a lack of a front runner in the Democratic race. People identify with Trump so much. In their darkest moment, in their best moment, somehow they identify with him and they vote for him. I don't know if we can survive another 4 years. Talking about his foreign policy, the way he handles things, the way he puts his foreign policy on Twitter. Don't even get me started. But I can see some good things, and at least I can see them. So, the economy, which I think is going to crash, but, I'm not an economist, so I don't have a model. Oh, there's someone that might be coming up. I'm off the side of the road so I can do this podcast because I don't have a good signal at home. So I'll be at the library tomorrow and then on to Eureka Springs to a haunted hotel. That's going to be cool. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Please listen tomorrow. I'm going to start doing my podcast again, I guess. I'll just do short little bursts on my viewpoint. What I think's going on. What I think might be going on. And maybe you might relate. Maybe you might agree or disagree, but that's okay. We can have a conversation. That's what we need to have in America. Conversations that bring us together even when we disagree. I'm a firm believer in conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening and have a good night or day.